everybody, and welcome to this week's workshop at the University of Ethereum. My name is Rachel, and I'm joined with an incredible guest today. We have Wales, the co-founder of College DAO here and the head of ecosystem. Really excited today to dive into College DAO. I've connected with their team at ETH Denver and seen them at various activations. Also connected with them at Blockchain at Berkeley as well, and just really love their ethos. It's so aligned with the University of Ethereum, and I mean, this workshop's just been a long time coming, and I'm really excited about it. I'll pass it off to you, Wells, if you want to give an introduction, kind of go over the mission of College DAO, and then dive into the presentation.
Hello, everybody. I'm Wales, a co-founder and head of ecosystem for College DAO. I've actually been involved in the blockchain space way before I even started College DAO in about 2023. So before this, I was the club president at my local blockchain university club at Singapore Management University. The club was actually dead at that point of time, but I had to revive it from then. But it's been a really great, amazing learning experience. Took about 2 years for us to really turn the club over, but throughout that journey, I had a lot of hands-on experience and understanding of how to interact with a lot of the different protocols and leaders and such. And then halfway through that journey, I met up with Joshua and Karthik, who are the other co-founders of College DAO. And then ever since then, we've been on a mission to try to be a public good for the student blockchain ecosystem space and making sure that the student clubs that previously didn't have as much support as we imagined has the support that they have in this ecosystem today. Because a lot of us were previous student operators ourselves, and we're more or less just paying the favor forward and trying to help ourselves in a place that we wish we had that help when we first started.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I have seen you all consistently showing up at conferences, events, helping to kind of usher in the next generation of blockchain leaders. And it really aligns with the University of Ethereum. Like, we're so focused on education, working with different chapter leads, colleges, universities. It really just feels like the alignment's out of this world. And I'm so excited anytime we do something together. It was a lot of fun also doing the panel at ETH Denver with you guys. So just really love the energy, love the initiative. I will let you now, if you want to dive into the presentation, we can go ahead and bring that up.
All right, so I won't do a really big, long hour-long spiel on this because the concept is actually really quite simple. And I want to make it a lot easier for other people to understand what we actually do at College DAO. But essentially what we are is a network college and Web3. And what that essentially means is that everything that I've talked about earlier about providing support for the student clubs, making sure that we have all the education ecosystem rails set up, and also trying to provide ecosystem tooling for the university blockchain clubs is something that we're really, really focused on. So part of the reason why we started this entire thing is actually because we realized that the student clubs themselves are really, really fragmented. And not only that, from previous partnerships that we had with different protocols that we worked with, we realized that the coordination between the student groups, the universities, and the blockchain protocols was really, really bad, in a sense that developer relations from different protocols spent countless hours trying to get in contact with one single student club and trying to work out partnership details. The student clubs themselves, usually they change leadership every year. So that makes it very, very hard to have like a succession plan, and also making sure that the quality and consistency of the student clubs are also up to par with what the club has built a reputation for. And the universities themselves, even though they do want to provide support for the student clubs, this university can't exactly have a lot of favoritism to blockchain clubs specifically, because there's a whole bunch of other, co-curricular activities and all other activities that students would be interested in doing. And, blockchain is a very closed ecosystem. I guess within each other, we're more or less like a bubble, but there's a lot more that the universities need to worry about. So what we have come up with is essentially an idea to bring together the entire ecosystem for the higher education space. So essentially, it's pretty much linking up the student clubs together with protocols, working together with universities to make sure that there's adequate enough support and infrastructure for the student clubs to continue doing what they're really good at, which is spreading the education, spreading the word of blockchain, and making sure students and campuses know what's going on in the ecosystem, while also allowing other protocols to come in at any point of time, having secure long-term partnerships with all of these clubs, and making sure that the relationship is doesn't sour over time. So we've been essentially doing this for about 1.5 years so far. As you can see, we've done a lot of partnerships with most of the largest blockchain ecosystems and protocols that exist. And the University of Ethereum is one of the biggest ones that we'd like to highlight because, as Rachel mentioned, we have a lot of synergies when it comes to trying to get more education, blockchain education out with the students. And you guys have already been doing an amazing job. I've gone through modules of my own and nothing really compares at the moment, I would say. But outside of all of these partnerships and networks, we've organized about 40 plus events worldwide in our first year in 2023. And not only that, we also helped with shellingpoint.edu. It's a new concept that happened with OKX and Gitcoin when we co-hosted the conference in Singapore. And it was one of the first ever .edu concepts that they came up with because we came in and wanted to ask, like, hey, is it possible to do a Shelling Point at a university campus? And they're like, oh, we've never done this before, actually. So they actually came up with a whole new .edu Shelling Point like conference concept just for this specific thing. And we also did a few Twitter tours. So we had about 15 spaces involving 27 different clubs and companies. And not only that, we hosted quite a few successful developer bootcamps. One of them was a Chainlink bootcamp that we hosted here in Singapore as well. There was about 100 students that came in. And alongside that, we did a few hacker houses. One was in partnership with another ecosystem education provider in Singapore, and then another one that happened in Istanbul. So we've slowly built up a community. We're actually right now at about 100 student blockchain clubs and communities across the world, with a sizable amount of Twitter followers and a few newsletter subscriptions because we started a Substack just to make sure that we can update our students, weekly on what's going on in the ecosystem space and whether they have any opportunities they can tap into. So what we really wanted to focus on, aside from just building up a community, is that we wanted to have the full range of support for the student blockchain ecosystem. And what that actually means is that not only do we want to provide support for the students and the student clubs in terms of operations and getting them the partnerships that they should be getting, but also trying to create a software platform, more or less as ecosystem tooling, such that it's a lot easier for protocols to get in contact with the student clubs through our College DAO Hub platform. And alongside that, we're also doing ecosystem as a service, which is essentially making sure that protocols can get adequate access into joint initiatives with university clubs, such as ecosystem, research, developer-related contracts and projects. And not only that, we know that a lot of the best student founders, or at least a lot of the best founders in blockchain, come out of student campuses. They come out of the university campuses with friends that they've built product along the way, and then we realized that there's a massive opportunity to tap into students and also get them the support that they need if they're a student founder and they need to have that core community of other student founders that they can grow with. And alongside that, there's also this thing called Foundry that we're doing, which is essentially a marketplace for opportunities. Because if we look at the traditional job market, the current jobs lists that's available for crypto jobs don't really cater to the entry-level positions or the internship positions that a lot of students are looking for. So aside from that, hosting bounties, research projects, and other such initiatives, we're essentially trying to do the whole package for the education ecosystem in blockchain and making sure that we provide adequate enough support for the student clubs, but also making sure that everything is linked together very nicely with the protocols and the universities themselves. So we've had a lot of partnerships that we've done in relation to other DAOs and ecosystems. And within this list, a few of the close partners that we've worked very closely with is Blockchain Acceleration Foundation. They've been here for a very, very long time. They're one of the most OG student ecosystem nonprofits that exist right at the moment. And not only that, we have a close relationship with Blockchain Education Network, which does a lot of newsletters and does a lot of media coverage. And we've worked together with EduDAO in the past to do some Hacker House initiatives and events. Not only that, there was this initiative that came out of, I believe, Collab Currency. They hosted this thing called Dorm DAO, which was essentially an investment collective of students distributed by different student clubs across the world. And alongside that, applications and courses wise, we had a few discussions and we had a few partnerships with Meta School and also EZA. So if you look at this entire, XY, axis chart, you can see that College DAO is trying to fill the the part where there isn't that much infrastructure being built, there isn't that much tooling being built, and there isn't that much dedicated teams that's focused on doing all of these infrastructure related initiatives that College DAO wants to focus on and College DAO wants to provide, while the other, ecosystems and protocols and DAOs that we're very, very close with and we always work together very actively, we try to cover each other's ground so that at the very least, when we come together and represent the blockchain education system or education blockchain ecosystem, we act as a coordinating layer between all of these different DAOs and the clubs and the protocols themselves. So our team is Joshua, Karthik, Wales, me, and Anshu, who is heading product. We're students from University of Michigan and me personally from Singapore at Singapore Management University. The interesting thing is that we actually aren't doing College DAO as our first stint. A lot of us has had previous startup experiences, and also personally for me, I've had experience running my club for the last 2 years before I started College DAO. And within our core community of contributors, we actually realized that there is a lot of student leaders from various universities that we're close to, such as Boston University, New York University, and Berkeley, and so on and so forth, that they really, really want to contribute to the larger mission of what College DAO represents. And a lot of the times, as College DAO, at least as a core team, because we want to act in the public interest of the student blockchain ecosystem, we don't really take any, personal, monetary benefit. Like, we haven't taken a salary actually ever since we started. And a lot of the revenue that we intend to get, or a lot of the possible, incoming donations and whatnot, actually goes towards supporting the treasury fund that we have at College DAO, so that we can try to, disperse all of those funds to the student clubs through a grants program, and, providing more support, whether it's advice for the student club leaders, whether it's partnerships and event requests, or even just, getting getting protocols or ecosystems a lot more aware of what's going on in a student ecosystem. Like, a lot of these things is what we try to focus our energy on. And we realized that other student club leads are actually really, really enthralled by this idea of, like, serving themselves and being a role model for themselves in the past that they wish that they had. So our core contributor community is a lot of student club leads and operators that have selflessly contributed to our ecosystem. And we'd love to continue the same vibe that we have ever since we first started, which is essentially acting as that coordination layer, that public goods for the student blockchain ecosystem. And just giving an overview of the different clubs and the different communities that we are in touch with, we're essentially global already. Like, we have very strong relations with people from Southeast Asia and East Asia. We have some connections with the folks from India as well, and South Asia. In the European region, of course, there's the United Kingdom's clubs, and there's also the EU clubs, as such as the one in Germany, and EPFL, and Turkey as well from ITU. And then I would say that the vast majority of the most exciting people that I've met actually come from the American region. And within America, we have very, very strong connections with the Midwest, East Coast, South Coast, and West Coast, as well as Canada as well. So that is pretty much us in a nutshell. We just want to support ourselves, who used to be student club leads and operators in the past, and trying to create infrastructure for, supporting the entire student blockchain ecosystem and the student and the blockchain education space. And yeah, if there's any questions, feel free to ask me on anything related to College DAO. And thank you so much, Rachel, for giving me the time to actually let people know about what we're doing.
Thank you. I mean, the work you're doing is so important. You're bringing in the next generation of builders, the students, the ones who have grown up with technology, can actually use this for good. I think this is really amazing work that you guys are doing. So thank you for doing what you do and for coming on today. I do have a couple questions for you before we wrap up here today. I've been thinking about this as you were presenting, but I'm curious what your why is. Like, what initially got you passionate about working on this? And what is the why behind what you do?
So I guess I can give a really personal answer, because I've asked myself that question for a very long time. And I've had mentors that came up to me, because I had a history, doing my club stuff at Singapore Management University. And I've had people come up to me and ask me, like, hey, why do you dedicate so much time, running the club, doing all of these different initiatives? Like, you're a club leader, you don't get anything out of it. like there's no direct monetary benefit for you. Like there's no point doing all of these effort. Like you can just get a job instead, right? So I think the real personal answer that I can give is that I actually just want to meet other people that I can grow, learn, and talk to. Because I guess as a Singapore student, right? Like I've been very interested in infrastructure related conversations, cryptographic primitives, public goods, open source ethos, the stuff that, Rachel, you and I, we really relate to. Like we're both essentially green pilled already, actually. But
yep, absolutely.
It was really hard. It was really, really hard for me to find other students that I could like vibe with and have conversations on, with these kind of topics. And I just wanted a group of friends that I could genuinely vibe with and learn together on, talk about all of these interesting coordination issues that's happening in blockchain space that I just didn't have that space for. So my personal answer for this, my why, is actually really simple. It's just that I want more friends that I can grow with and talk to. But during that journey for the last 2 years or so, I realized that that mission grew up a lot bigger. And I realized that, I'm a kind of person that's very purpose driven. And drawing from my own experience running my local blockchain club for the last 2 years and then starting to join College DAO, I realized that, to put it very, very honestly, the student ecosystem has been very undervalued and underappreciated, in my opinion. A lot of the partnerships and the potential collaboration dynamics with protocols and companies don't essentially put students as close to their heart as I would imagine. And because the entire narrative is that, oh, you guys are just students, like and there's not that much you can expect out of it, and because students are very, very hungry and they're willing to go above and beyond just to do the absolute work that they
Absolutely.
need to do. Yeah, sometimes I realize that this dynamic doesn't really sit right with me. Like, I really want to make it so that it's an equal playing field for the student clubs. Myself, because I faced a little bit of these kind of issues during my club leadership, but expanding out to my conversations with other university club leads in Singapore and then globally in the USA with College DAO, I realized that this is a perpetual problem actually that a lot of student clubs face. And it's just nice to know that I'm kind of helping myself if I was younger, but also knowing that we're doing something a lot bigger, that we can support ourselves and people who really, really want to contribute in the student ecosystem, but may not have that leverage that they wish that they had to make the impact that they should be making. So a lot of these
Wow.
student leads that I know, they're absolutely amazing stewards. They're the best stewards and they're the best evangelists that I could ever imagine. And a lot of them spend a lot of time and effort just putting in the hard work, creating really, really solid proposals, being the center coordination point for the local regions. And yeah, I would say that the larger vision and mission for College DAO is really just supporting all these student leaders, making sure there's a very organic, relationship and very organic community growth that happens within these specific areas, so that we can just support the
Well,
ecosystem at large.
I think you're, by the way, wow, that was a lot more than I was expecting, but I love it. Yeah, I think personally that community is at the epicenter of all growth, right? And all things that are built. If you don't have community, if you don't have strong relationships with your team and others that are passionate about what you're working on, I don't see it as very sustainable, right? Like all the big successful projects you've seen in blockchain, they have passionate, purpose-driven communities behind them. So I think your head's in the right place, and you took your original why of like building relationships, making friends, and you turn that into impact. So that's a really beautiful thing. And this reminded me of a quote. I actually co-authored a book this year that was published, and I actually start my chapter out with, if you want to go far, we need to go together, right? You can only go so far alone. So I think you understand those ethos, and really love to be, out here in the community building alongside you, Wales. Okay, I do have one more question for you before we wrap up here. So can you name like a success story, like someone who's come into College DAO who has absolutely crushed it and gone on to create something or found something? Like, is there anyone that comes to mind, or any success story you have an example of?
Man, I have a lot of individual
It's you.
examples.
Maybe it's
I mean,
you.
okay, I wouldn't toot my own horn, but I want to highlight the people that has been, core contributors and part of the core team at College DAO, because a lot of the reason why we're doing this is not really to kind of like capture the community from the student club leads, because the core ethos that we worked on, and Joshua and Karthik and Anshu as part of our co-founding team, we've been very, very clear on this, is that we don't want the clubs to feel as if they're indebted to College DAO, that as if it's something that they need to stick to in order for the community to grow. We actually tried to flip the script and make it so that we're highlighting the student leaders and making it so that they have a larger impact at their own communities, rather than making it so that it's just contributing only back to College DAO. I think you get what I mean. But
Yeah.
I guess co-founders aside, I do want to highlight one core contributor that we've had in our community ever since the start. She's actually called Isabel Key. She's currently with the Blockchain Acceleration Foundation as their operations lead, and she's been
Wow.
one of the most, I would say, the most genuine community builders that I know. And obviously, within our co-founding team, Karthik is planning on doing his own music startup. Joshua is already doing his own
Nice.
startup as well. But I really want to highlight the community members themselves. Isabel has been this, ball of energy, I would say. And she's been doing amazing work at Boston University. She's built out a very, very strong community of developers, and she's one of the best examples, I would say, when it comes to building out proper, relationships within the clubs, making sure you grow your community in the right way, and also aligning the incentives between all the different student club members. I would say that her personal journey is already pretty impressive. I don't really like to claim credit, or I don't think College DAO would like to claim credit for her growth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's been contributing to Boston University. She got into Blockchain Acceleration Foundation. She's one of the most solid operators that I know of, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna go places in her career. A lot of us are
Awesome.
still very, very early in our career, and we're all students anyway. So we're really excited to see where everybody goes. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, I would love to invite anybody listening to get involved here with College DAO. So, Wales, could we kind of cover like some steps? Like, let's say someone's listening and they want to get more involved or participate. What would that journey look like?
So I would say the vast majority of the information that someone wanting to reach out to College DAO and get to know us is on our website. So it's collegedao.io. And if there's anyone interested in getting in contact with us, obviously we have a Twitter at collegedao_hub for anyone to get in contact with us. Like, we usually keep our channels very, very open. We try to make sure that we give the attention that we need to any protocols, any student clubs that comes together with us. And also, at the very least, it's more or less a discussion, and a lot of the times we're trying to find ways that we can actually benefit the other protocols and the clubs, rather than trying to make it seem as if we're selling something to them. But yeah, it's the website and the Twitter account is pretty much the main places that we can get in contact with.
Absolutely. So yeah, I have that scrolling here on the bottom of the screen. We have their website, collegedao.io, and their Twitter, which is collegedao_hub. Yeah, so I mean, this is a very open community. I've connected with several folks on the team. They are open, they are welcoming, they are willing to show up for you and help you succeed in your blockchain career. I mean, I've connected with these people firsthand on the team. And yeah, for anybody listening, I highly recommend getting involved in this project. If you're a student, you get to connect with other peers who are doing cool things and learning the things you're interested in. So highly recommend it. And yeah, for all those listening today, thank you again for tuning in. Wales, you did a fantastic job. Love the presentation. And yeah, really excited. I mean, if you want to tease a little bit about some EdCon Alpha, I know we discussed an opportunity today, if you want to share a bit.
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited, and Rachel has been telling me about this, and I've been trying to wrap my brain around how I'm gonna do this. But EdCon is gonna be hosting a Ethereum quorum on the July of 28th. And ideally, I'd love to be able to speak on there and give a very short, I guess, speech on why the student ecosystem matters. Like, I really, really highly encourage anyone to be joining for EdCon and making sure that you're there for the event, because tickets are completely free. I have no idea how the EdCon team did it, but God bless you guys. I really, really love the fact that the conference is being open to everybody. And as far as I understand, EdCon is one of the most aligned public goods, open source. Like it was the most technical workshop and conference that I know of. And it's amazing. It's amazing that I'm able to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate the kind words there. We're so excited to have you July 28th at Ethereum Quorum. For anybody that doesn't know, this is going to be at the United Nations University in Tokyo. So we're really excited about it. Basically, we're going to have a bunch of different thought leaders like Wales come up and share about different problems that they're passionate about solving. And that will lead into a conversation where we actually have a solutions-based conversation, like a think tank roundtable with other thought leaders in the industry. So Wales has been selected, and dude, we're just so happy to have you there. And yeah, it's going to be a blast. First time going to Tokyo over here, so it's definitely going to be an experience. I'm really excited.
Yeah, Tokyo is going to be absolutely amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, one last time for the resources for those listening, go to collegedao.io if you want to learn more about College DAO and get involved. And if you can, give them a follow on Twitter. The Twitter, again, is collegedao.hub. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you again so much, Wells, for joining us today. And yeah, we'll see everyone on the next workshop.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel, for hosting me.